So we developed BugLess, and the team is Eduardo, Francisco, Guilherme, and myself. So the idea is trustless bug bounty platform. Bug bounty programs unite hackers and developers to identify bugs for rewards. But there's no guarantee of fairness, so developers might downplay the bug severity, underpay, or not pay at all the hackers. Enter BugLess, a transparent bug bounty program using Cartesi Rollups. So what we developed, a DApp backend running inside the Cartesi Rollups framework, featuring a sandbox environment for running arbitrary Linux programs on the blockchain, and the front end to interact with this backend application. The interactions between the users are the following. So a developer posts a new bounty for his program on BugLess, uploading his binary program to the blockchain via a rollups input. A sponsor backs up the bounty by transferring Ether to BugLess, and a hacker attempts to break the program by sending an exploit. If he's able to send the exploit, he can get the reward from BugLess. We added a few examples that I'm going to show in the demo. We added Lua, the programming language, SQLite, and BusyBox. We used previous versions of those programs that have known exploits, so we can show the full system working. So let's go to the demo. This is the main screen of the front end. Here we have a few examples, but before I go into the examples, let's show how to submit a new bounty. So let's submit a new one for Lua for 543, new bounty description. And then we set the deadline. If we set the deadline, so if nobody is able to break the example, the sponsors can get their money back. So and I'm running a local Anvil node, so I can test it locally. So I created a new one, which is this one, which has the default image, but nobody is sponsoring it yet, so I'm gonna sponsor it. And then I'm gonna add a few Ether and add the sponsorship. And now this is going through the Cartesi machine in the rollups environment. After adding the sponsorship, it's here, so it adds my name here. And now I'm gonna be put the heads of the hacker. So I'm gonna change accounts here in the MetaMask, and I can try to submit exploits. So as the hacker, first, before trying to submit an actual exploit, I'm gonna do an example with the sandbox environment. So I, for instance, could, in this Lua environment, just use the Lua language. So print reload and then test it. And as you can see, it runs inside the sandbox. It prints the hello as expected, but this is not considered an exploit. It's just a simple program. We could also try to break Lua by doing infinite loop. So for instance, fire true, do end. So this won't break Lua because this is running in a sandbox environment. After some time, the sandbox will kill the script, and this will not be considered an exploit. So here, I just pasted an actual exploit for this version. So for version 543 of Lua, this code actually breaks Lua. So if we test it, we can see that the exploit succeeded. So we can just submit it with MetaMask and submitting. Okay, and it's done. If we go back and it's just updated, and the exploit is here, and the hacker receives his money as a voucher. So just to show you, this is the GraphQL interface, and by updating here, this last input generated a voucher that ideally in the Rollups Explorer in the future, you would be able to withdraw from this voucher, execute it and withdraw. And that's the main workflow. I'm just going to show it real quick. Other examples. Here we have BusyBox. So in this case, this is Unix utilities. And this version of BusyBox, which ends up being the current one, has an exploit as well. So with just this, you end up breaking the BusyBox environment. And then, as an example, the hacker broke it. We also got a previous version of SQLite that also has an exploit. So this ran SQLite inside the Cartesi machine, and then this exploit breaks SQLite. So in the case of SQLite, if we go to the newer version and try to submit the same exploit and test it, and we can see the exploit failed because this is a new version of SQLite, this is patched, and the same exploit didn't work. And that's it. Just a quick note, just so Guilherme won't be mad at me, we also have some future work that we want to do. So support ENS to get avatars and more information about the users, support other types of assets, support syntax highlight on the code blocks, add optional one-time setup base for applications, add option to download the bounty code. Now the bounty code has a link here if you want to get more info, but we could add a link to download it, and sandbox the application with hypervisor. So now we are doing a sandbox inside Linux, but if there is a bug in the Linux kernel, the user might be able to break the sandbox and get the exploit, not for the application, but for the kernel. So if we had a hypervisor, we could prevent that as well.
I think finishing the presentation with "that's it" was perfect. Yeah, the chat spoke by itself, so unreal, man. Super impressive.
Yeah, thanks for the team. Everyone did an amazing work, and that's it. Thank you, guys.